And welcome to the July 25th, 2022 Goffstown Select Board meeting. Our first call to order would be the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you all join us, please? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First up would be the acceptance and correction of minutes from 7/11/22.
I'll make a motion we approve the 7/11/22 public and non-public minutes with corrections if needed.
Second.
Motion by Kelly, seconded by Mark. Any discussion? Corrections? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, motion passes. We have some announcements tonight. First of all, we'll start with a traffic alert. The Goffstown Department of Public Works announces the closure of Back Mountain Road between number 598 and 618 for road work starting Tuesday, July 26, which is tomorrow. The road will be closed day and night for several days. Please seek alternate routes. For more information, call Goffstown DPW at 603-497-3617. As many of you know, there was a large house fire in Goffstown over the weekend. Fortunately, the family is safe. However, the loss of this magnitude is devastating and the challenge lay ahead. The family would like to thank the community for their immediate outpouring of support. If you would like to help, you can donate directly via Venmo at Emma Hydra 1. Confirmation digit is 6234. Also, if you're able to donate clothing, Lollipops Boutique and Gift Shop at 20 Main Street has offered store donations. 5T girls, small boys, and SM women's large. Men's clothing size of best. Shoe toddler size for toddler girl is 9 to 10. Toddler boy is 11 to 12. Thank you in advance for helping any way you can. Also, on September 11th from 12 to 4, the Village Trestle will be hosting a fundraiser for the family. For more information, you can, or to donate a raffle, contact Becky at 603-820-6895. Also, August 2nd is National Night Out, sponsored by the Goffstown Police Department. It's from 5 to 8 at the Goffstown High School on the upper parking lot. That's always a good time. Again, that's National Night Out on August 2nd from 5 to 8 at the Goffstown High School. I think that's it for announcements. Derek, you want to cover a couple things? Or David, how long is yours going to take?
5.
Okay, why don't we just take David now then? You have a handout.
I believe you have a handout.
Right, we have a handout.
I'll try to make this quick because it's...
This is David Pierce representing the
David
Goffstown.
Pierce, Friends of the Rail Trail. On the 13th of this month, I started staking out the left and right edge of where I'd like the trail to be built for this fall's project from Lynchville to Moose Club Park Road. 4 days later, I'm putting stakes in to the rear of an individual's home near Lynchville Park Road. The homeowner, putting it politely, he disagreed with where the alignment was and wanted it, the trail pushed 3 to 4 feet away from his home. I showed him that a swale that I would need to construct would go through where a grove of trees was. I would rather not cut a healthy grove of trees. And in a few days, the individual did make a complaint to the town hall. I did not want to jeopardize my contract, which starts in another 5 weeks, with a lingering dispute preventing me to start the contract. So I fast-tracked a solution. Public Works agreed with my concept of where the trail ought to be. aligned at that particular location. The Park Commission, with Mr. LeMay in attendance, concurred with this decision. And last Thursday, I scheduled to be here tonight so that you would be aware of this dispute of a homeowner in the trail. Bottom line, I was back out there again Saturday. The homeowner approached me. He was no longer in contention with where the trail ought to be, exactly where this grove of trees was located. He was happy with that. Further eastward, he wanted the alignment moved 2 feet one way, and then another 50 feet further, moved 1 foot away from his home. I agreed with that, and dispute was settled. So I'm sorry to have taken up your time on the agenda, but the matter was settled after the agenda was published.
Excellent. So I won't be getting any more calls.
Not about the alignment. And I'll be very casual with trash removal.
There you go. Thank you.
That's great.
I did meet with David and the homeowner down there, but just by chance, I happened to be going down to look, and David was there, then the homeowner came out. We had a little discussion, but looks like David's got it under control, so that's great. Derek, you got a couple of minutes worth of stuff?
Sure. At page 5, or tab 5, you've got your committee meeting schedule. Wednesday at 6:30 PM, the HDC will be meeting.
Yep.
And 7 PM, Conservation Commission in this room.
Have it?
There's a typo on Thursday that should actually say 7 PM. That's the planning board in this room.
Have it?
And then the following week at 6 PM on Wednesday, Economic Development Council.
I got it.
Derek, I'll also have library at 6:30 that evening. So they're still on every other Wednesday.
So they're doing every other, or are they doing the third and the first?
I'm sorry, yeah,
I'll have Catherine update. Okay, yep.
thank you.
Thank you for reminding. I'll make sure the calendar's updated. Your next page, you have your consent agenda. You have an employee status report for a fire lieutenant, merit increase for a bachelor's degree. Rights to inter on West Lawn Expansion Cemetery, Section 2, the cremation garden, lot number 84. You have event permits for a Village Trestle charity motorcycle ride on August 13th with a rain date of August 14th from 9 to 4. You have the Pinardville Athletic Club car show fundraiser for the fire department, August 14th, 10 to 2 p.m. And Goffstown Main Street Program Concert on the Common in August. This is Mondays on August 1st, August 8th, and August 29th from 6 to 8. And then Sundays, August 14th and 21st from 12 to 2. And then you have a letter of support for ARM grant funding for the Clark Ridge Farm project that you were briefed on by David Neiman a couple months ago. That needs a signature of the chair.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Go ahead, do one more.
I think you had a
I'm sorry.
vote on that one.
I was already on the next thing. We had a motion by Kelly, seconded by Mark. Or was it Jim? Who
It
seconded?
was Jim.
Jim. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, seeing none, motion passes.
Hey, your next page, you have a budget transfer request from the finance office. This is for the quarterly benefit cash out for those employees that cash out of insurance, and it's just a reallocation of funds from the insurance line to different wage lines.
I'll make a motion to approve the budget transfer request for the reallocation of $43,397.79 from insurance benefits to the various wage lines as presented.
Second.
Motion by Kelly, seconded by Jim. Any discussion? This is a normal thing we do all the time, so. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, motion passes.
And then I know after public comment, I know that Danielle has a couple of items for you.
Okay. It is 6:10 and it is time for public comment. Is anybody here from the public who would like to make a comment or discussion? Don't all raise your hands at once. Seeing none, we'll move on and go. Did you want to come up, Danielle?
evening just to give you a quick update on some of the commodities that we have fixed rate contracts for. As you know, in May, we brought forward an update that we had run through our diesel allotment, and we would anticipate needing another 35,000 gallons for our second year of the contract. So we have an update here for you in the first memo I handed out tonight. It shows that we're still currently on the rack rate, which has been trending downwards. Our contract for October 1st of 22 through September 30th of 23 is $2.29.5 per gallon. Currently, they're offering a fixed rate of $3.79 a gallon for that period, for the additional gallons. We can either lock in or we can wait and see what's happening as we move into the budget season. As far as the rest of this period until our contract starts October 1st, we're anticipating we'll need another 15,000 gallons delivered. And the guaranteed rate, if we lock in now, would be $3.95 as of today. Otherwise, we can continue on the rack rate.
What's the rack rate today?
The rack rate today is just slightly above that, about 4, a little over 4, because they have delivery fees as well.
So the anticipated amount for a whole year is 58,000 gallons?
No, it's 93,000 gallons total. We've already locked in the first 58,000 of that.
No, I'm looking at, oh, I see what you're saying. So from 10/1/22 to what in 23?
September 30th, a full 12-month period.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying, we'll need 58,000 gallons.
We'll need 93.
93,000.
93,000. The contract was 58,000 because we used probably some bad data in developing on what we needed. So we anticipate that will be 35,000 gallons short.
I see what you're saying.
So what we'd like to do is, at some point before we get into budgeting, is to lock that portion in. I think Danielle did talk with Adam today, and looking at where it's trending, it's still trending downward at this point. And I don't know if it's indicated here, but Danielle had indicated that we expect the next forecast to come out in April, or I'm sorry, August 9th. So it continues to trend downward, so it might be a good time for at least the portion of the 35,000 gallons to wait on that. And then what we can do with the current shortfall of 15,000, we could either lock that in at $3.95 or continue to pay rack rate with the hope that it continues to drop between now and October.
That's a gamble.
It is absolutely.
Yeah, between now and September, we're anticipating usually 4,000 to 8,000 gallons a month. So that's how we have 2 months remaining. That's why we still have about 15,000 estimated for this period.
So if we did, well, it's only a month, so you're only going through 9/30. Would it be advantageous for us to do this, say, for the month of August, and then look at it at the end of August for the month of September?
I don't know if they'll let us lock in that small of a quantity since it's
okay.
only 2 deliveries for them. Whereas if we do the 2 months, it'd be 4 deliveries. So they've indicated they could give us a very short-term contract of just 2 months for that. But I don't think they would let us lock in for just 2 deliveries at a time.
But we could buy at rack rate.
Yes, we can continue to buy it at rack rate.
Which is
Right around that price right now.
I don't know, I think it's almost just advantageous just to do rack rate for the next 2 months.
I think so, since it's such a
Agreed.
short period and we're
Yeah.
anticipating another
Exactly.
downward trend.
Right. So I think the plan, personally, my plan would be to do rack rate for the next 2 months, and then again, we'll look at the, right before the budget time, we'll do it.
Yeah, I think between Danielle and Adam, they can continue to watch where it's trending, and if all of a sudden they see that it stops trending downward, we would bring
Jump on
something
it,
to
yeah.
you to get that additional 35,000 gallons, because we do want to get that locked in at a rate.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so let's, what, Mark?
I was just gonna say, they're following this pretty closely. If something happens, can we give Derek or Danielle permission to lock it in like we've done in the past?
I don't think things swing that fast, do they?
They actually do. They've told us that the numbers they give us, that's why I didn't have the memo till today, is the number for the day. And tomorrow morning, if I call them, it's a different number. Sometimes it's just a few cents, but if we have to wait till the next meeting, it could be a bigger difference, so it's up to you. I don't know if there's a magic number that, hey, if it hits 250 or lower, lock it in, or if there's like a breaking point, or if you just want us to keep updating. It's up to you.
I don't know, I'm kind of leaning towards just to keep updating. And you're only talking about a 2-week swing, really. But that's about what do you guys think? Jim, what do you think?
I think it's gonna continue to slightly go down, and I'm, just my gut is that there's not gonna be any spikes or anything like that in that short a period of time, so let's let it,
All right.
you know, to
Collins?
the record.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay,
Let's continue.
Kelly?
The, excuse me, the rate that we have in the contract now is $2.29, right?
Yes.
That'll start on October
That starts,
1st.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the first 58,000 gallons that we use out of our anticipated 93 will be at that rate.
Yeah, I think we just try to
Wait.
move it down, yeah.
Okay.
Mark, you already said you.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I'll go either way. I know in years past, we've made that decision to lock it in on
Yeah,
any.
it's so volatile right
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
so.
yeah, that's fine.
All right, so that's,
That's the diesel.
okay.
The second memo I have in front of you is just the other related commodities, gasoline, oil, and propane. So at the last meeting, Derek had given you an update about the school continuing to watch the numbers, and we have a combined contract right now where we get the same rate that they get. And the school has continued to get updated numbers, so we got new numbers this morning for oil and propane, which you see there, and gasoline that you're seeing right at the top. Those are both in contract currently, and we're not anticipating any additional needs. So that's just there as a reference so you know where we're at with gasoline. For oil, we are currently at $2.29 per gallon through August 31st of 22. And then on September 1st, we're going to be starting a new period. Right now, we don't have a contract rate. They are offering $3 and almost 73 cents per gallon for that period, that next year. I don't know if that is a number that's of interest to the board, or if we want to hold off and wait until we get a little bit closer to September 1st. The propane, that last section you see before you, is much further out. They project further out. So they're offering us rates all the way from now through August of 2025. So our current rate of $1.58 per gallon, that is coming to an end August of 23, so next year. And they're offering fixed rates for each year following. And you see those are just slightly higher than where we are now, but they are very favorable rates. So if you'd like, we could lock in on any of those figures, or we could keep waiting.
When you say they, is that a specific contractor, or?
Yes,
Did you go out to bid, or?
Yes, so the gasoline and the diesel is the state contractor.
Okay,
That's who we've been using for this past year. The oil and the propane is the vendor that won the RFP that you had agreed on last fall.
so is it worth going out again or not?
So last year we partnered with the school when we went out to bid, and we went with a successful contractor. The school board has given the business administrator authorization to negotiate propane. They're much more heavy on the propane than they are heating oil, their use. So he's actually working with the existing vendor. The school board has given him authorization to buy in, he's buying in like different chunks.
He's gonna have, 8 contracts over that
Yeah,
2-year
he's gonna have
period.
multiple contracts over that entire year. We don't use as much propane, so we would need basically part of what they're using. But again, this would kind of follow the school's stance on what they're doing to work with our existing vendor.
So do we wait until Scott's done negotiating before,
These are those numbers.
oh, these are the numbers he's come up with, okay.
Yeah. So it's just where they are further out. Is the board comfortable settling and signing a contract for those rates as we see them now? Or do we want to wait until we're closer to the start of those periods and check again, or go out to bid on our own separately? Right now, we're bidding combined with the school, which includes New Boston, SAU, and obviously our SAU here.
Go ahead.
Is the oil in the contract with the school as well?
It is,
In the contract? And that period ends not September 1st, right?
yes.
So how long of a process does that take for us to contract with them? And by that I mean, could we wait till the next meeting to kind of also watch the trend? Would that still give us enough time to contract for September? Because
If
we
you
don't really
wanna-
have that much time.
If you want to remain with the same vendor, then yes. If you want to continue with the school's contract and follow that same vendor, we already have the relationship, so it's just a matter of getting the updated rate for the meeting. If you wanted to go out to RFP for a totally new oil vendor, we would obviously need the lead time to get that set up. And I don't know that we make it before September 1st.
But is it possible, as Kelly's just mentioned, that if we wait till the second meeting in August, or that 737 not gonna come down, right? Because Scott's already negotiated it?
That could, that
Oh, it
could
could.
continue for the oil, yeah. The propane, we've noticed an increase back up a little bit of a couple pennies. So this is a couple pennies higher than it was a couple weeks ago, but those periods are further out. But the oil definitely could continue to come down in the next few weeks if you'd like to wait.
Well, I read about propane, it looks like it's gonna go up, and that, so I don't know, but that's,
Yeah.
who knows, you know? I'd be willing to wait till the end, till the second meeting in September, I mean, in
August.
August to take a
Yeah.
look at that.
For the oil?
That's what you're suggesting, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking for the oil, but for the propane, that's already negotiated. So if the price fluctuates, we might not potentially, like, does that one seem advantageous to just sign now? Because that's
Personally,
We're
from
already
what
signed
the,
up till 8/23.
right.
right for these other two ones, these other two rates though. That's
Right.
what Daniel
For
was saying,
propane.
they're contracting now for those 2 more years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the propane rates continue to be favorable. I mean, as you can see, they are a little bit of an increase from where we are now, but it's within 10 cents or so, which
12
is,
cents.
yeah, 12 cents on the maximum rate there.
It's so,
So is it a linear downward trend, or is it fluctuating? I mean, you know,
Oil has been more of a linear downward trend. The propane has gone down, but is now kind of going back up as we're moving into that season, heating season for propane.
I don't know, I'd be in favor of locking in on the propane.
yeah,
Me
and
too,
then
and waiting on
and
the
then
oil.
On which one?
propane.
Yeah, but there's two in front of you.
Yeah.
The one,
We could
One's
do both or just
169.05 and the other one's 170.25.
And you're also talking about multiple years into the future. So
Yeah.
we're already, for propane, fortunately, we're locked in till a year from now at this point. So
Right.
you're talking,
So we're talking another year out after that, so.
correct.
Yeah.
So would you be to the 8/31/24 call us?
8/31/24, yes,
That's what you, at the
Yeah.
169.05.
correct.
And that second year, as you can see, is about a penny higher if you wanted to do the second year as well, or you can do them independently, just take 1 year and then wait to see what happens. But it's almost the exact same rate for that.
Right.
market. I'm surprised that they predict that far out, honestly. That's always amazed me.
does propane fluctuate greatly over the years? It's hard to tell without a history.
It can, yes.
So there's a possibility that at the end of the 24 period, it could be down to, what, 125 or something like that? Or-
It could be,
It's
yeah.
always a gamble, yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
know, but what's, if with
The
the
most-
history, you could kind of at least
Yeah.
make an educated guess.
Right.
But
The most favorable rate we've seen has been right around 155, so it's not far off from there. And where we only use 22,000 gallons or so, it's not a huge quantity,
You're not
whereas the
talking mega
school
millions.
is a couple 100,000 gallons.
I don't think it's worth the gamble, I think we gotta lock it in,
And what, which one?
for propane for the long term.
At the.
So you wanna go to 25?
Yeah, that's where I wanted to go, 25, that's where I was heading, but.
Did you, that a motion, Collis?
Yes.
Okay, seconded by Mark.
Yep,
Any further
Is
discussion?
this just for propane?
Just for the
it's
propane?
propane.
Right.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, motion passes.
Okay. And I'll come back at the second meeting in August with an updated oil rate
yeah.
for this
Yeah.
coming fall.
Yeah. All set?
That's it,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Next.
We haven't got anything else for like 2 minutes, huh? 3 minutes.
You've got your action matrix.
Inaction matrix.
But
We can go through that real quick. Nothing on number 1, right?
correct.
Kelly?
Yep, we got some good policy stuff in the works right now, so it's still being worked on. Hopefully have a handful for the next couple meetings.
Anything on the pedestrian bridge?
Anything there?
No, I think we're gonna be solidifying the, I've gotta get an email out to all the members that served on the first one, so I will do that, tomorrow to get those out, so we can get the volunteer nominations forward to you, so you can appoint and then.
Then call the initial meeting?
Yep.
Yeah, good.
Any, there's no department here to discuss vehicles. I was just wondering if that one Kenworth transmission curbside truck, it said 715, I wonder if that got back.
I can get an update and,
Not
share
a big
that.
deal, I was just curious. I see David's here. Which one is David here for, do you know?
I was just here to, in case there's any questions about the arms letter.
Oh, we have, okay, thank you. We already covered that, just to let you know.
Yeah,
But I don't think there's any question, I think everybody's in favor. Anybody got any questions for David on that?
Nope,
just because it was the second letter requested, I thought there might be some confusion.
Nope. I already signed it, by the way, just to let you know.
Thank you.
All right, let me get ready for our public hearings. I can start this. We do have public hearings scheduled for tonight. In compliance with RSA 41:14-B, the Goffstown Select Board is conducting this public hearing to accept public input pertaining to the following proposed ordinances. Proposed amendment to the rail trail ordinance to clarify Class 1 and 2 e-bikes can be used on the Goffstown Rail Trail. The amendment also clarifies that Class 3 e-bikes are prohibited from the use on the Goffstown Rail Trail. We want to take these one at a time?
Yeah, that'd probably be the best way
Okay,
to do.
so let's open the public hearing on that rail trail and e-bikes. Is there anybody here that wants to input on rail trail and e-bikes?
Good evening, Board. David Pierce, 21 Mill Street, and I'm an officer with the Friends of the Goffstown Rail Trail. I agree with the changes that you have proposed. They're either formatting changes or you're replicating the state law dealing with e-bikes and mobility-assisted devices. I'd like to bring something else to your attention, and I'm unsure whether this is appropriate for this ordinance or an ordinance with a greater umbrella. And that, let me draw your attention to paragraph 4B. It starts with the word littering. And the rest of that sentence deals with destruction of signage and objects. But the word littering, I would assume the way this was written back in 2005, it was intended that the trail user would be inappropriate for the trail user to litter, soda cans, bottle cans, trash on the trail, and that was the intent of this ordinance. We're seeing very little trash, which is good. But more recently, what I am seeing is that the abutters of this forested land that's mostly 99 feet wide are taking, not bringing their lawn debris, limbs, and brush to the town transfer station. They're just taking a convenience of dumping it, 10 feet further out of their backyard, or in some cases, they're taking it across the street and dumping it into the trail corridor. So, perhaps Derek can offer whether it would be appropriate for this ordinance to encompass some words that deals with disposal of debris or lawn debris on town property. It could be this ordinance deals with just the rail corridor. I don't know whether this is a problem on other town parks.
I think for this public hearing, we're strictly advertised it and promoted it as an e-bike.
Mhm.
And I would like to stick to that on this particular public hearing. Now, if there is a problem, Derek, I'd like to find out from anybody else, department heads, Rick, or anybody that has an issue with this, and if the littering, or if there's anything in the ordinance where it comes to littering on the rail trail, as it says, specifically says what is littering.
I can check with the police is the enforcement authority, so let me check with them on whether or not littering would cover the items that David has mentioned. And I'll also check with NHMA. I believe you have the ability to, I'll have to see what we did for the posting of this ordinance amendment, but I believe you still have the ability where you can change words, but
Definitions.
Yeah, definitions on that.
Okay.
So do we have a definition of litter anywhere, either in a town ordinance or anything else? Because usually if you don't, you default to the Merriam-Webster definition.
Either that or whatever the state, if there's
Right,
something.
that's what I mean.
I'll have to do a little bit of research.
Like I said, I don't want to get bogged down on this subject now. I think what we need to do is schedule this for another meeting, do some research on it, and come back with it, so we can address it. Obviously, it's a problem, we need to address it, and how do we address it when it happens? We identify the people who do it, that type of thing, and how do we chase it down? But I want to stick right now to the electric bike, because that's what we have a public hearing on. Is there anybody else? Dave, you all set with the electric bike?
I'm fine, thank you for your attention to
Yep.
with this new issue. I do get discouraged when I pick up a lot of tree limbs and I go back a week later and I find a whole nother set of tree limbs.
I understand your frustration, but we'll get that
Thank
in
you.
another meeting.
Thank you for your attention
welcome.
on this.
Is there anybody else here who'd like to talk about the e-bikes? Seeing none, we'll move on. The next meeting is when, 22nd?
So the next hearing on this
28th, I'm
is
sorry,
on the
August
8th, August 8th, yes,
And
at
scheduled for-
6:30 PM.
at 6:30, and it's scheduled for a vote, final vote on August 22nd.
Yes.
Okay, the next one up is a proposed ordinance entitled Stephen Drive Speed Limit Ordinance, reducing the speed along the entire length of Stephen Drive to 25 miles per hour. Is there anybody here that would like to address that? Seeing none, we'll move on. The next one is proposed ordinance entitled Maple Ave Bus Entry Only During School Zone Hours. The ordinance is to promote a safer and more orderly flow of traffic on Elm Street at Maple Ave during school zone hours. If enacted, vehicles apart from the school buses will be restricted from entering Maple Avenue from Elm Street during school zone hours. If enacted, all vehicles except for school buses shall not enter onto Maple Ave from Elm Street during school zone hours. School zone hours are defined in RSA 265:60. 2A, as 45 minutes prior to each school opening and 45 minutes after each school opening. Is there anybody here that'd like to speak to this? Seeing none, we'll move on. These are the first public hearings on these proposed ordinance. Second public hearing will be scheduled for August 8th at 6:30 PM. A vote on these ordinances is scheduled for August 22nd. Next up is proposed acceptance. I'm losing my voice for some reason. Goffstown Board of Selectmen policy to accept and establish trusts from private funds. You want me to read the whole thing?
So you should have a cover one that, and this is a public hearing, which will start at 6:45, but I think you can start going, and I can give you a little bit of the background. And
All right,
Daniel can
all
add.
right. So I will read this. In compliance with the town's policy to accept and establish trusts from private funds, the Select Board is conducting this public hearing on a proposed establishment of Clayton S. Gennard Memorial Scholarship Trust Fund. The initial deposit into the scholarship fund shall be $10,000. The intent of the Clayton S. Gennard Memorial Scholarship Trust Fund is to provide one scholarship annually to a deserving college-bound Goffstown High School student athlete who has participated in the Goffstown High School varsity football program. In accordance with the RSA 31:37, scholarship trust funds accepted are managed by the trustees of the trust fund. So go ahead.
Okay, yes, so this is a scholarship trust fund that was reviewed and accepted by the staff at the Goffstown High School, and the funds were turned over to the trustees of the trust fund in 2021. So we became aware of it when we saw the fund show up on the MS9 at the end of 2021 in the annual report. And when we started talking to the school district, we said the power to accept trusts for private funds was given to the select board by town meeting in 1995. And there is a policy and a procedure for how to go about that. So you do have that, you do have the policy in your packet that was adopted in 2014. And really that procedure is put in place to make sure that the gift instrument is clear in the purpose, any restrictions of the gift instrument, and who has the authority to expend. It also requires that if the amount is over $5,000, that there shall be a public hearing on whether, just public hearing before the board takes a vote on it. Immediately behind that, you do have the trust instrument that was provided to the high school and the trustees of the trust fund. Again, it's very clear in what the purpose of the scholarship trust fund is and the restrictions. It's my understanding there's an initial deposit of $10,000, but at this point, they are looking to donate additional monies to this funds on an annual basis to a date uncertain, and then they'll continue awarding this scholarship to students. And it's very clear that the authority is the Goffstown School District. They will be able to request those funds from the trustees of the trust fund. So the form of the gift instrument or the trust instrument is, we as staff would say it's an acceptable form. And we were just going through with the procedure that's spelled out in your policy. And we've talked with both the trustees as well as the school district about any future scholarships that somebody might come forward to set up, that we go through these before the funds are deposited into and managed by the trustees of the trust fund.
You want me to wait to,
Unfortunately, we do have to wait till 6:45
Okay,
for the
that's
public
fine.
hearing, because that was the posted time. I anticipated that the traffic ordinances might generate a little bit of discussion but
Yeah, we had a lot.
so I grouped those together, but I think in the future, we're just gonna group all the public hearings together. At least there's only the one that's off by, I think there was one night where we did this multiple times.
Well, we got 5 minutes. Kelly, did you want
I
to bring
have
up
some
something?
questions. Just out of curiosity, does transferring this to the trustees, do they have any sort of administrative oversight on this, even though the schools own it? I mean, is there any change to responsibility or anything like that?
Yeah, so what will happen annually, for any trust funds that are held by the trustees, they'll get basically a request from the school district to disperse those scholarship funds to the person that's selected, and they have to provide the necessary backup that matches with the
Criteria.
that's in the trust instrument. The trustees of the trust fund will review that request, and then at a publicly noticed meeting, they will have to take a vote to release those funds to the school district. It's very similar in what we need to do with any of the town's capital reserve funds. We have to provide them the documentation of the action taken, whether it's by this board, in the case of some of our funds, you have a joint ability to expend with Historic District Commission, but we have to show them where it is in that case, capital reserve fund, but in this case, where it is in the trust document. And the school will do that on an annual basis. And typically, I think they have usually a meeting in May. Usually in May, they get a whole list of all the scholarship funds, because there are quite a few scholarship funds that are administered by the trustees of the trust fund. So that time of year around graduation, they'll get a list of who they've been chosen, and they review that at their meeting.
Danielle, do you have anything to add?
No, I was just here in case there were any questions. I attended the meeting with the trustees.
Okay.
And I think we've cleared up the process with them moving forward on the scholarships. I know many years ago, there may have been a couple others that did similar things where the money came in, and it's great that people are willing to make those gifts and create those scholarships. We just want to make sure that they go through the correct process before the trustees start to manage them.
Anybody else got any questions? Go ahead, Kelly.
It's a small amount, but just out of curiosity's sake, does it impact valuations or anything, or does that go in a separate kind of hold for money, or how are those
Can you talk about
categorized?
where the trustees maintain those?
Sure. So the trustees, while they utilize our same tax ID number, they have entirely separate funds. So the monies that the trustees hold are actually held at two different investment firms. One is the New Hampshire Public Deposit Pool, and then the other is through Citizens Clarifeld Division, which is an investment division specifically. So they have each of the scholarships or flower funds, cemetery, whatever funds they are holding, each are individually segregated in the investment mechanism and listed out for reporting to the Department of Revenue every year. So the Department of Revenue Administration oversees the trust accounts, and they are included in the town's audit, but they do not impact or flow through the town's general fund for any of the tax calculations.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No, that's.
No, and I know Danielle's been working with the chair of the trustees to try and get better organization on their existing trust instruments. Because again, some are restricted where they can only use income, some are both principal and income, and so there's a whole lot of things. But I know Danielle's been working hard to help them get organized so they can kind of see that, so.
They've made
Jim,
a
you
lot
all
of
set?
I'm all set.
Okay. We got another minute. Click. Click. Watching clock.
The trustees have actually been really good about getting all their paperwork together, scanned in so that they have quick reference to it, uploading the information to the state's portal. So that's been a lot of work that they've put in recently to that, and it's really made it a lot easier for researching items with them.
Well, at this time, I'd like to open up the public hearing for the policy to accept and establish trust from private funds. Is there anybody here from the public who would like to comment? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing.
You wanna take the motion? Can we do it
Yeah, I need
now?
to motion.
Yes, you can do it now.
I'll make a motion to accept and establish the Clayton S. Gennard Memorial Scholarship Trust Fund in accordance with RSA 31:19 to be managed by the trustees of the trust fund in accordance with RSA 31:37.
Second.
Motion by Kelly, seconded by Jim. Is there any further discussion on this? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, the motion passes. Now we'll go to new business. Is there any new business? Kelly, don't you have something? Thought we were doing something about employee appreciation or something?
Oh, yeah, we can talk about that.
We should,
Um,
if it's okay with Derek.
Derek, do
Yeah,
you
no,
have
absolutely.
any update on that?
That's new,
What
I'm
I'd
doing
say.
some new business.
No, if you want to let the board know kind of what the
Yes.
plan was.
So I had been trying to figure out if we could revitalize or bring back the employee family night for employee appreciation. We used to do at Roy Park or Barnard Park the cookout every year for our employees. So Derek did a little bit of research for me on the costs associated with that, where we've pulled funds from historically, what kind of things have been involved in putting that on for our employees. I know Derek was looking into availability, but if we did it in August, just before budget season starts, I think, what was the date you had mentioned?
August 25th.
25th?
Yes,
Um,
which would be a Thursday night, but it's a night that the planning board takes off. So we avoided Tuesdays and Wednesdays because the library is open till 8 those nights. We avoided Monday because either you are meeting or the school board is meeting. So really, we thought Thursday, the 25th would be the best night. The pools will be closed, but we've had good luck in the past. I think the last time we did it, we did Oreo stacking for some of the younger kids that were there, as well as some people.
Even the grown-ups.
Yeah, yeah, and then we did some, yard games, whether it's cornhole or some other things. And then the department heads had done some grilled, and then kind of brought some potluck stuff too.
So what's the plan? Same?
That would be the plan if the board wants to move forward with doing that. Again, looking in the history, it was typically from like 5 to sunset. People could bring their families. I think Adam had kept attendance for a couple years, and it was approximately 80 people. Where either the department heads or the boards chipped in on like hamburgers and hot dogs, and then everyone else kind of just brought stuff. But in accordance with the wellness survey we did and employee appreciation and stuff like that, I wanted to see if we could bring it back. What y'all thought about
Let's do it.
doing that?
But don't we have a fund that would help
Oh, the
support that?
wellness fund.
The
Sorry.
wellness.
Yeah, so a
Yep.
portion did come out of the wellness, and I know that Health Trust also has been supporting employee appreciation, stuff like this for mental health, especially over the last couple of years, so they've been helping with that as well.
So I think that the amount of funds available are gonna determine how we handle this.
So the funds we have currently for this year from the Health Trust is $1,000 towards, it could be used towards training events, mental health, it can be used towards social health, anything that we'd like. And we do have to we already have the cash in hand, they've already dispersed it to us at the beginning of the year. We just have to submit a form once we use the funds to let them know how we used it.
Is team building available as one of their criteria?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
And
so we got that covered.
And then there's also, the Wellness Committee has their own budgeted funds as part of the regular operating budget. In the past, they've pitched in for things like vegetable trays or healthy snacks, things like that, that they could do as well. in
So how much
addition.
is in that fund?
They have, at this point in time, I think they still have 2,000.
It's either 2,000 or 1,500.
Yeah, because
So-
they've dispersed a little bit throughout the year for reimbursement of gym memberships and some of those other components. But they do have some funds left. We haven't
Are
scheduled
there any,
trainings
is
yet.
any of that 15 or 2,000 or whatever specifically allocated to something that's already spent this year?
Not yet, no.
So I think you'd have plenty of funds to, sponsor, like a hamburgers and hot dogs. that
Well,
kind
I
of thing.
think we went through COVID here the last few years,
We
and,
should do it.
maybe we might step out and do a little bit better than just, little
Derek
bit.
had pulled some information from Adam that the last time when the department heads put it on, they collectively spent $200 for the hot dogs and hamburgers for everyone. So we
No,
could
I'm
certainly do
thinking-
more than
I'm
that.
thinking, you know,
Yeah,
salads, potato salad, any of that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, you know, get,
I agree, let's do it.
you know, get somebody to make it, or, you know, wherever, and just do it right. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't like the idea, yeah, we're gonna hold a, you know, employee appreciation, but make sure you bring
Please
something.
bring something.
Yeah, that doesn't-
Well, they
Go
covered it
spend
in
some
the
money.
past, so we have funds certainly to do more. I agree.
All right.
It's a great idea, we should do it.
Okay, we can get the notice out and start making the preparations.
So let's set a budget. Go ahead, that's what she wants to do.
Always about a budget now. The other thing too, I wanted to let you know, just kind of an out-of-the-box idea, is the town's credit card has a rewards program, and I don't know if you recall in the past, we've come forward, we earn points, and when we utilize the points, I asked the board's permission before we convert any points. We do have about 40,000 points that are gonna be expiring starting September and October this year. So I'd recommend we use those. There are many different options, but two most common are we can convert the points to credit on the town's credit card. So if anything is purchased for this appreciation, we could also, you know, put it on the town's credit card and get a credit that way. Or another option would be to trade in some points for like gift cards that we could raffle off, things like restaurant cards, gas cards. We've done that in the past when we've held training events and people attend the training and then there's like a raffle for attendees. I don't know if that's anything you want to do in conjunction with appreciation, but I wanted to let
Come
you
up with
know.
any kind of an idea. I went to a party this weekend, and they had a Ben and Jerry's truck there. You know, that was pretty cool.
Was that the one across from my house? There was a Ben and Jerry's truck across from
No,
my
this
house.
is down in Dana's
Oh.
Park. It
I thought that
was right
pretty
across
cool.
the street. I parked my boat, there was the,
Do you know on average, Danielle, how much, I know we did the gift cards in the past to try to get people to, not try to get them to come to trainings, but as a raffle for coming to trainings.
Yeah.
Do you know how many we got for how many points? Like, could we just
Yeah.
use all the points and then use some and maybe save some for
Yeah.
benefits season or?
So roughly, the way that it works out, whether you take it as a credit on the statement or you take gift cards, is it's pretty much a conversion rate of 5,000 points equals $25. So with 40,000 points, you can get quite a few.
Eight.
We actually can do more because we have a grand total of about 540,000 points available. The 40,000 was just the ones that are most immediate to expire because they give you a few years to use them. So we try to use a few every year to make sure we get some items and we're not just letting points expire since it's a free benefit of the card.
absolutely,
Yeah,
do
I'd
whatever
like
we
to do
can.
that.
Spend it all,
Yeah, just get stuff and then we can use
if
it
that's
in the
okay with
future.
Derek, I don't wanna speak.
No, we can, I think we can, Danielle and I can come up with some more, we'll get the word out and the save the date to everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll get that distributed to employees, but then we can come with a little bit more, concrete plan for you, and then.
Can we get together, and maybe Kelly and I can get together with them and
Yeah.
Yeah.
with you guys, if you don't mind, or anybody that wants to come, but if any more than two comes, then we gotta post it, but, and just get together and kinda put something together,
Sure.
do some research.
Yeah,
can definitely
absolutely.
do that.
You can send us some memos saying, check this, check that, I don't mind doing that either.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else? Is there anybody here, anything else on the agenda, we got it all covered?
I don't have anything else.
Everybody else all set?
We
Is there
have-
anybody here for public comment? Seeing none, we'll move on. Motion?
No, no,
Motion
public,
adjourned.
right?
No. Is there anything non-public?
I don't have anything for
He
non-public.
said-
Motion.
said-
Mark made a motion,
said
seconded by
no.
Kelly. Seconded by Kelly. Any discussion? Seeing none, that'll conclude our meeting for this evening. Thank you.